This is a true life story that happened to a family who brought in a recommended maid into their home. Events that happened led to their faith getting tested in a way they had never imagined. Let me walk you through a real-life incident that happened almost 8 years ago. In the bustling heart of Lagos, where the hum of traffic never truly ceased and the skyline gleamed with the promise of opportunity, the Oluwa family lived on the edge of chaos and ambition. Adeolu and Tola, married for 12 years, were the epitome of modern parents trying to juggle the weight of their careers and the needs of their two young daughters, Daniela and Maya. Adeolu, a senior manager at a multinational tech company, spent most of his days in back-to-back meetings, navigating the pressure of corporate deadlines. Tolu, a rising star in the legal world, had just made partner at her firm. Their success were a source of pride, but it came with a cost: their time. Their daughters were the lights of their lives. Daniela, the elder at 10, was thoughtful and curious, with a penchant for asking questions that had no easy answers. Maya, at 6, was the family's comic relief, a endless energy often bordering on mischievous. The Oluwas adored their girls, but the demands of parenting, school run, and their high-pressure jobs left little room to breathe. The morning rush in the Oluwa home was a symphony of controlled chaos. Daniela, did you pack your math workbook? Tola called from the kitchen, her hands full with lunch boxes. Yes, Mom, Daniela replied. Maya, where are your socks? Adeolu yelled from the living room, struggling to tie his tie while scrolling through emails on his phone. I don't know, Maya replied, giggling as she danced around barefoot. Tola sighed, placing the lunch boxes into their school bags. Adeolu, can you please get Maya dressed? I'm already late for court. Adeolu groaned but complied, scooping Maya up and plopping her on the couch. Where is the second socks, young lady? Maya struggled, a mysterious grin widening. Maybe the dog ate it. They didn't even have a dog. After a frantic search and several hours finished breakfast, they managed to pile into the car. Daniela and Maya sat in the back, chatting animatedly about their day ahead. Adeolu drove, one hand on the wheel and the other on his phone, dictating a quick message to his assistant. Tola glanced at her watch, her brow furrowed. Adeolu, can you handle pickup today? I have a late deposition. I've got a conference call with New York at 7 p.m., Adeolu replied, his voice tickled with frustration. Maybe we can ask Mrs. Adebayo next door to help out again. Tola sighed, her guilt bubbling to the surface. We can't keep asking her. It's too much. By the time Tola got to the office, she was already exhausted. Her day was a whirlwind of legal briefs, client meetings, and court appearances. Meanwhile, Adeolu was buried in project proposal and last-minute deadlines. Their text exchange were short and businesslike. Tola sent a message to Adeolu. Did you remember Daniela's piano lesson today? Adeolu responded, rescheduled. Can you order dinner? No time to cook. Tola responded, fine. Don't forget Maya's homework packet. By the time they both got home, the house was a mess, school bags dumped in the hallway, dishes in the sink, and the girls already asleep on the couch. Tola looked around, her shoulders slumping. This isn't working, she said quietly. Adeolu nodded. We're stretched too thin, Tola. Something is going to give. That weekend, the family tried to reconnect. They went to the park, played board games, and even managed a family dinner without interruptions from work, but the underlying tension remained. The next Monday evening, after they settled in from work stress, Tola raised the topic that had been on her mind for weeks. We need help, Adeolu, she said. Adeolu raised an eyebrow. Help? Like what? A maid, Adeolu. Someone to help with the house, help with the girls, and take care of the little things we keep missing here. Adeolu frowned. Tola, We have talked about this before. Bringing someone into the house, it's a big decision. I know, Tola admitted, but we can't keep living like this. We're running on fumes. The girls need more attention than we are giving them, and the house is constantly falling apart. We need someone, Adeolu, just for a while until things settle down. Adeolu leaned back on his chair, considering our words. What about trust? How do we find someone we can really trust to live in our home, around our girls? We'll vet them thoroughly, Tola replied. I'll talk to agencies, get recommendations, do background checks. We won't rush into it. Tola sighed, rubbing his hands. I just worry bringing a stranger into our lives. But I get your point. Let's think about it, Tola. That night, as Adeolu worked late in his home office and Tola reviewed case files on the couch, the conversation lingered in the air. They both knew that something had to change. Their love for their daughters was undeniable, but so was their exhaustion. Okay, Adeolu said finally, walking into the living room. Let's start looking, but let's be careful, Tola. This is our family we're talking about. Tola smiled, relieved washing over her. Thank you, babe. We'll find someone good, I promise. Unbeknownst to them, this decision would set their family on a path they would never have anticipated. A path that would test their faith, their trust, and their resilience in ways they had never imagined. The Oluwa didn't waste time. Tola, ever the efficient lawyer, drafted a list of requirements for the maid they were about to hire. She wanted someone trustworthy, experienced with children, and preferably recommended by someone they knew. Adeolu, on the other hand, was less enthusiastic but agreed to go along with the process. I don't want this to be rushed, he reminded Tola one evening. This person will be living under our roof. Let's make sure we're doing this the right way. Tola nodded. We'll take every precautions. I won't settle for just anyone. The boss started reaching out to friends, colleagues, and even the neighbors to see if anyone could recommend a reliable maid. Responses trickled in slowly, but nothing seemed to click. Some of the potential candidates were too young, others too inexperienced, and a few wanted outrageous salaries that didn't fit their budget. A breakthrough came during one of Tola's lunch breaks at work. She was chatting with our colleague Angela, a senior partner who had been through similar struggles balancing work and family. You're looking for a maid? Angela asked, sipping our coffee. Yes, Tola sighed. It's been exhausting, and Adeolu and I at our wit's end. Do you know anyone reliable? Angela smiled. Actually, yes. There's this girl I used to employ, Ngozi. She worked for me for 2 years before she had to leave to take care of her sick mother. Now that her mother had passed, she's looking for work again. She's fantastic with kids, keep the house spotless, and is very polite. Tola's eyes lit up. She sounds perfect. Can you put me in touch with her? Angela nodded. Of course, I'll give her your number. She's a gem, really. I wouldn't recommend her if I wasn't sure. When Tola tested to share the news with Adeolu after our lunch, he was hesitant. Angela may trust her, but we need to be sure. Let's meet her and ask all the questions we need. Tola agreed. Absolutely. We'll vet her thoroughly. Ngozi arrived the following Saturday for our interview. She was a polite woman in her late 20s with a calm demeanor and a warm smile that immediately put Tola at ease. She was dressed modestly, carrying a small handbag and a folder of documents. Good afternoon, ma, she greeted Tola with a slight bow. Thank you for inviting me. Tola led her into the living room where Adeolu waited. The girls were in their room, giving the adult privacy. Thank you for coming, Adeolu said, extending his hand. Ngozi shook it lightly and sat down, her composure straight but relaxed. She spoke softly and respectfully as she shared her background. She had worked for 2 families before, both of whom had young children. She described her daily routines, from preparing meals to helping with homework and keeping the house tidy. Why did you leave your last job? Adeolu asked, his voice calm but probing. My mother was very ill, Ngozi explained. Her eyes cast down. I had to take care for her full time. She passed away a few months ago, so I'm now able to return to work. The sincerity in her voice seemed genuine, but Adeolu wasn't one to take things at face value. We'll need references, he said. I brought them with me, Ngozi replied, handing over letters from her previous employers. Adeolu read through them carefully, noting the glowing praise. One letter described her as a trustworthy and hardworking person, while another emphasized her love for children. We also need to know about your health, Tolan added. Do you have any medical conditions we should be aware of? No, ma, Ngozi replied. I'm in good health. They concluded the interview with a tour of the house, showing Ngozi the room she would stay in if hired, and as she left, Tola and Adeolu felt a conscious sense of optimism. What do you think? Tola asked once Ngozi was gone. She seems solid, Adeolu admitted, but let's follow up with our references before making any decisions. Tola wasted no time calling the numbers on Ngozi reference letters. Angela's glowing endorsement was further confirmed by both of Ngozi's previous employers. She was wonderful with my kids, one employer said. They loved her. She was like family to us. She kept my house spotless and was very respectful, said the other. You're lucky to have her if she agrees to work with you. Still, Adeolu insisted on the background check. They used a reputable agency to confirm Ngozi's identity and work history. The result came back clean with no red flag. Feeling reassured, the Oluwas invited Ngozi for a second meeting. This time, they included the girls. Daniela and Maya were shy at first, peeking out from behind their parents as Ngozi sat on the couch, but Ngozi quickly won them over with a gentle, warm smile. What are your favorite things to do? Ngozi asked them. I like reading, Daniela said quietly, and I like playing, Maya added, bouncing on her toes. Ngozi laughed softly. I love reading too, Daniela. Maybe you can show me your favorite books. And Maya, I know some fun games we can play together. Within minutes, the girls were chatting with her as if they had known her for years. Later that evening, Daniela whispered to her mother, I like her, mommy. She's nice. Maya nodded in agreement. She's fun. Adeolu watched from the corner of the room, felt his reservations ease. She seems good with the kids, he admitted to Tola. After much discussions, the Oluwas decided to hire Ngozi. She would move in the following weekend. Tola and Adeolu outlined clear expectations from her role. She would handle housekeeping, assist with the girls' morning routines, and help with school runs. We'll try this for 3 months, Adeolu said firmly. If there's any reason, we would reconsider. Ngozi nodded. Thank you, sir. I wouldn't let you down. The day Ngozi moved in, the house felt lighter. She quickly settled into her role, taking charge of the household tasks that once overwhelmed Tola and Adeolu. Breakfast was always ready on time, and the house was spotless. The girls adored her. Tola and Adeolu felt like they could finally breathe again. Their evenings were less rushed, and they found themselves spending more quality time with their daughters. This was the right decision, Tola said one evening as they watched the girls play a board game with Ngozi. Adeolu nodded, though a part of him remained conscious. She's doing great so far. Let's just stay vigilant. What they didn't know was that beneath Ngozi's calm exterior lay secrets that would soon unravel the fragile balance they had both worked so hard to achieve.